What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be going over not one, but the 3 Japanese decks I want to talk about for Japanese Tuesday. We are closely ticking to Bt-12 territory, so I'm excited to go over more and more good stuff on the cap end of Bt-11. So guys, without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. So first deck we're going to be talking about is UlforceVeedramon. So why are we talking about this deck again? Well, we had the hybrid version, but this is now the pure version, which seems to be pulling ahead of the hybrid version, which is really good. So UlforceVeedramon is when digivolving, you may play one blue tamer from your hand without paying its memory cost. Really useful, very powerful. Your turn, when you play a blue tamer, unsuspend this Digimon. It's not once per turn, so you can get a multiple of these going off. You can lead to being OTK potentials. Once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, return one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand. Increase the maximum level of this effect, and can choose by 1 for each blue tamer you have in play. So this thing can go up to 7 if you got 4 tamers. Noticing the common trend is that now they're using tamers as a bias point to get effects off. Well, they're trying to make you walk into Death X more often, apparently. So, but Ulforce is still a very powerful deck. It's got that one kind of deal. If you do not see Rina, though, you are in big trouble here. On play, one of your Digimon with Veedramon or Veedramon in its name gains blocker and evade until the end of your opponent's turn. Gives a pseudo protection. All turns, when one of your Digimon with Veedramon in its name becomes suspended. By suspending this tamer, activate its one when digivolving effect. So you need Rina to get UlforceVeedramon's effect going. And then your turn, when one of your blue tamers suspends, gain 1 memory. So this extends plays as well. Rina's a very powerful tamer, so we don't knock it. But what I really wanted to show off is Tai V-Tamer. There are very few lists that actually have the promos in them, and that's because of how there's restrictions on what decks can play, because these promos are restrictive in competitive play, and that's kind of just how that is until the Revival Collection just gives the rest of what they needed. So, triggering the draw 1, and then one of your Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. Really good, because if you have a Digimon with Veedramon in its name, you may suspend this tamer to activate one of the following effects. So, not a bad trade-off there, especially because this can just lead to being some very nasty combos, especially because you need to get over thresholds. He can get over it now, especially the more ties you get, and it's all about playing hide and go seek, and then you can just multitude go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attacks pretty quickly. And then here's the major reason why Jerry's going up, is because of this deck. People are playing her in it. You may play 1 Leomon from your hand without paying its memory cost, which ends up being the blocker Leomon that gains 2 memory when it's deleted and a draw card. Not a bad thing on that. But also, Jerry, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to draw a card, giving you more advantage to getting more resources out. And then we know Davis is in here. We have 3 blue memory boosts, 1 ice wall, Arrow Veedramon from starter deck 8 with jamming, and then the extra security if you have 8 cards. The new Arrow Veedramon, that is, by suspending this Digimon, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add all blue tamer cards among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order, and then when attacking, activate 1 Rina's on-play effect, which, again, you want to get this under this Ulforce to get really going. Then you have Kumamon for hybrid shenanigans. Veedramon here, your turn, when you play a blue tamer, draw a card, and then when you play a blue tamer, gain 1 memory. Okay. Then we have Veemon from EX1, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, gain 1 memory. Helps extend your plays to get you more tamers out. Then you have Gabumon from EX1, revealing the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card, tamer card, or 1 Digimon card with Gabumon in its name among them. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. Really solid. And then new Veedramon is when you have a blue tamer in play, gain 1 memory, but reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 card with Veedramon in its name, and 1 blue tamer among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck. So what your hopes are is that you're going to hit enough of your tamers to thin out to still climb up. So that's a big thing. And then you do have Demi Veemon. So when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, gain plus 1000 DP. And then you have Bebeto, so when this Digimon with Dramon, because we have Veedramon is in their name, this is, or Xmon in its name becomes suspended. This Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for the turn. All turns. Not very often will you see this going off because most of it is your turn, but it is on your turn. You'll at least get an extra 1000 DP, making yourself bigger, and then just applying pressure from there. We kind of expect this deck to kind of just OTK like it's supposed to, and it'll be good to see where they go about it. Hopefully, people get some massive amount of testing with this deck, and it shines as bright as everybody is hoping it to be. I hope it for the best. And then next deck, then Shoutmon X7. We actually haven't covered Shoutmon X7 on this channel. It is one of the more key factor decks in this format, but the reason why I wanted to show this off is because this is following the restriction list. So this has only 1 x4 while 3 x 3. So big to pay attention to. Shoutmon X7 though, rush, material save 4. So this thing, if it dies, at least it'll put 4 of your sources underneath, which is basically almost all of them minus 2 cards. That's fine. And then on play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. And then for every 2 cards in this Digi-Evolution cards, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. It gets pretty big. And then you get to put Omnishout, Z-Greymon, Ballistamon, Dorluamon, Starmon, and Sparrowmon underneath. So this should lead up to costing this thing only being a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2 cost on play, which is really good because it has base rush. So this can apply so much pressure. Then they do play Shoutmon DX. This name of this card is treated as Omnishout and Z-Greymon, material save 2. On play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a DP of 8,000 or less, and one of your opponent's Digimon may not attack until the end of next turn. And a turn end of attack by deleting this Digimon, gain 1 memory. So you'll trigger its material save, and it Digicross for 2 for an Omnishout or Z-Greymon. So this does bring it down to being a 7 cost on play, but that should be only dire circumstances. It's just another Shoutmon X7 to source target, just so that you're ready for it. You know what I mean? Then you have Z-Greymon, basically blocker for inheritable, but also being able to unsuspend this Digimon. Then if this Digimon has Blue Flare or Crossheart in straight in its Digi-Evolution cards, your opponent has 2 more Digimon, gain 2 memory. So it becomes a 1 cost evolve in most circumstances, which isn't bad. On deletion, save, and then place 1 Greymon or male Birdramon from trash under one of your tamers with generals in his trait. So pretty much all these guys, which isn't bad. Which you want to do this card here. So start a main phase by placing 1 Digimon card with Crossheart or Blue Flare in its traits under this tamer. Gain 1 memory, draw a card. Really useful. And then when you play 1 Digimon with Crossheart requirements, by suspending this tamer, you may place 1 card from under your tamer as Digi-Evolution cards for a Digicross. It's not a bad trade-off. It's a very powerful tamer, especially if you need to put something underneath, and that gaining that draw advantage might bring you ahead in that memory gain. But we kind of know what everybody else does for tamer-wise. Then you do have Omnishout here, so when this Digimon would Digicross, the name of this card / Digimon is also treated as Shoutmon, and while this Digimon has Shoutmon in its name, this Digimon gains security +1, extra security for its inheritable. And then when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 DP or less. If this Digimon has Shoutmon in its Digi-Evolution cards, delete 2 of your opponents with 4,000 DP or less. Wide board shenanigans, really useful. Then we have Dorluamon. So on play, if you have... We got to know what the rest kind of do, so we should talk about like ×3 here. Material save 2. But start your main phase by deleting this Digimon, gain 1 memory. You don't have to delete it if you're not ready to. And then on play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. Add 2 cards with Crossheart or Blue Flare and traits among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. Really powerful, very unique skill. I mean, being able to grab pieces and get it set up, really useful. And then we have Ignitemon. So this card is when attacking by deleting one of your other Digimon. Delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a level less than or equal to the deleted Digimon's level. Really useful there. And then once per turn, when you would play a Digimon by an effect, gain 1 memory. So it gives you another Zendro-esque effect. And then the rest are kind of just common plays. Zendro gains you a memory. Akari draws you a card. Taiki allows you to do what you need to do, and that is basically pull sources from underneath, and it searches your pieces. And then Tai for the memory setting. So all in all, great deck. Nothing has real... Times 7 will be probably a formidable deck, especially when we get into it in Bt-11. Then finally... Boop. Finally, we're going to talk about Bloomhydra. Yes, I know Bloomhydra is EX3, new baby, but it's sometimes good to take a look at it. We know what Bloomlord kind of does from all his effects. He's basically, you may suspend one of your Digimon, then gain 1 memory for each suspended Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy in one of its traits you have in play. If you do gain 2 or more memory by this effect, unsuspend this Digimon, it gains Piercing for the turn. And then for every 2 suspended Digimon you have in play, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP, gain Security plus 1. So, wider your board, the more useful it gets, the more pressure you get to apply to your opponent, and your opponent is never going to be happy with that. And then we do have Hydramon, so you may suspend 1 Digimon, and then all turns when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended for each other suspended Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, Fairy in one of their traits you have in play, gain 1 memory. So it doesn't count Hydramon, sadly, but you'll gain some value out of that. End of a turn, if you have 2 or more suspended Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, or Fairy in one of its traits, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. There you go. So that's going to be useful. Then you have Chimeramon for Jogressing in when you spit out a few champions very easily. So I kind of see where they're going with this. And Chimeramon might not be a bad tech for Bloomlord. Might be something you guys look into. So I'm making that quite of a little bit of suggestion there. I think having Chimeramon Jogress and minusing their DP to make them smaller can lead to being in some useful situations, because sometimes their Digimon are just way too big for you to deal with, and being able to climb over them is very useful. They're using the new card from Bt-11, that is Poison Powder. All your opponent's Digimon gain all turns. When this Digimon becomes suspended, lose 1 memory until the end of your opponent's next turn. So, very useful. And then if you have a green tamer in play, reduce the cost by 1, becomes a 2 cost, not a bad trade-off. You know, we have Sama Sasante, green memory boost, hidden potential discover, Mimi. You know, the rest of the gang's all here. You have Vegemon from Bt-11, which is new. This is start of your turn, gain 1 memory. If it's out there, it can extend your plays. Then you also do have the new Palmon from Bt-11, that's start of your turn, draw a card. So, 2 new cards that really do help the deck out. And I do like that they went for a more DP reliant, because sometimes you do need to swing into the Black War Greymon X antibody, who's kind of beefy, so you want to get into it with him. You want to be able to run him over, and I kind of get it for the Tonemon and then Basomon. So, and then we also do play the Palmon in this deck, which is really useful, and that's where my suggestion is that I started noticing if you attack an opponent's Digimon, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. That extra 2000 DP actually matters in a lot of matchups, and it can lead you to winning games. And that's going to be very important, because if you can get this early enough, this can lead to game finishing that you need, because magic numbers actually matter when attacking into Digimon. And the rest of the deck is kind of self-explanatory. There's nothing too crazy out of the ordinary with this deck besides adding the Chimeramon and the Poison Powder, and then the new Vegemon and the new Palmon. Definitely see potential in this deck. The deck is not going anywhere, and I love that we're getting into formats past Black War Greymon X being king of the ring. It looks like other decks are starting to learn how to play around him, and he's kind of starting to tone down a little bit, which is good, which means that we're getting diversity into the format, and hopefully Black War Greymon X isn't overly killing everybody, is the keyword I'm looking for. So guys, without further ado, what did you guys think of all these amazing decks? Let me know down in the comments what you would change in any of these decks, or maybe anything that you weren't expecting for decks show up. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and peace!